This seminar it's about coaching as a Christian leadership method in the business coaching program. My name is Bengt Åkesson and I will talk about Jesus as a coach. The most important passage in the scripture when it came to Jesus as a coach can we find in the road of Emmaus. From Lucas 24:13 to 19 we read, "Now the same day 2 of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. As they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them. But they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, 'What are you discussing together as you walk along?' They stood still, their faces downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, asked him, 'Are you the only one visiting Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days?' 'What things?' he asked. So what can we see here? How do Jesus behave towards these 2 disciples? We are in the situation that is after resurrections. The 2 disciples are probably disappointed. They are on the way home to Emmaus. The first thing happens is that Jesus is coming and walked along with them. He started to create the contact and the trust. He's not coming with the clear answer. This is the situation, guys. Now we have to do this and this and this. No, he started with the trust, to create contact and trust. And after that, we clearly see that he asking question, "What are you discussing together as you work along?" He really want to know what's going on in their minds. And he continuing with a question. Explain more. What things? He asked. But we also, so we can conclude, he start with the established contact and trust. He asked good questions. And when we read more, we also see that Jesus is listening a lot here. He is listening a lot and he is waiting with the answer until the end when he explains what is going on. So this is a good example of Jesus as a coach. Jesus used a lot of questions all the time. It's hundreds of questions in the New Testament. And we can start with an open-ended question. Who, what, where, how, and why. And Jesus used this. Here is some example. Who among you will give your children a stone when they ask for bread? What did you go out to the desert to see? Where is your faith? How many loaves do you have? Why are you so afraid? And we are using, or Jesus is using the open-ended question really to know more, explain more, to get a better understanding of the situation. Maybe we can say the king of the open question is the why question. And we can read in Matthew 8:23 to 27 really how he used this question. And it's about Jesus calms the storm. And remember the story on the sea, the storm coming up, the disciples is in the boat, the waves are higher, they start to be afraid. And Jesus is actually also in the boat, but he is sleeping. And they try to They wake him up and say, Lord, save us, we are going to drown. Save us, Lord. And Jesus wake up and replied, why are you so afraid? And we really can ask ourselves, why are he asking this question, this why question? It's obvious that you're afraid. But here we have an example here where he tried to test their faithfulness, their ability to trust in Jesus. So the why question is very powerful in the coaching session. Here are some other examples. Why are you anxious about clothes? Why are you afraid? Why all this commotion and weeping, etc. So the why question is very powerful. But then we have also the close-ended question, do you? And the close-ended question can only be answered by a yes or a no, a false or true. Do you? And some examples. Do you realize what I have done for you? Do you have your own idea, or is that someone else's idea? Do you believe I can do this? Do you see anything? And the purpose with using a closed-ended question is to test a way forward or test a commitment, to take a next step in the coaching process. What Jesus is doing as well is trying to deepen the understanding, creation of understanding. Do you really understand? And it's not always you can ask that question particularly, do you really understand? So Jesus used other more little bit strange question, clues, like a mystery, but it's leading always to a deeper reflection and understanding. Here is some example of that. Salt is good, but what if salt become flat? Where can we buy enough food for them to eat? For who is greater, the one seated at table or the one who serves? Whose concern is it of yours? Last thing in this teaching is we look into how Jesus treats his disciples. And we can see clearly how he do that in Matthew. It starts with the calling of the disciples. And remember, these guys were fishermen, they were tax collectors, they were with so many different backgrounds. But Jesus trusts them. He trusts they could learn, they could be developed. The second thing he did was he learned them how to look at the reality. And one example of that is in Matthew 9:36, when he take all the disciples on the mountain and showing them the crowd of people who were helpless and they were sheep without shepherd. He helped his disciple to see the right thing, to have the right glasses with compassions. Next thing he did was he sending them out. And they're sending them out to try by themselves. He gave them the authority, but they have to learning by doing. And actually he is doing that also, saying, I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. He is not protecting them from things which are dangerous. And finally, which is very important, Peter is a clear example of somebody who fails. So that's also a part of Jesus' way of looking at us, that when we fail, he came up again. He came to this Peter again, say, here I am again, now we start over again. There is always a place of failure. So empowerment is the main word here. Jesus treats his disciples with a high degree of empowerment. And here come some questions to discuss together. What can you particularly learn from Jesus about coaching? How can you develop your empowerment of other people? Why do you want to develop your business? Thank you very much, and God bless you.